major championship reactions. We got myself and Trent. We're going to break down the entire PGA Championship. Scottie, obviously the headliner, the king. He's inevitable. We talk about everything from Scottie, from the trophy, from the lid, from the golf, John Rahm, what could have been, what almost was, Bryson DeChambeau, Rory's week, the whole thing. Michael Block, the block party. Oh, boy, we got a lot of good stuff to talk about. I'm fired up. It's a major. And it's all brought to you by Chevy. Athletic, bold, commanding. The Equinox EV helps you show up in style. We love Chevy. We love golf. God, I can't wait to talk about some major championship golf with you, Trent.
Yeah, we love all those things. We talk knee-jerk reactions to the PGA Championship, like you mentioned. We talk about notable people who missed the cut. There were a lot of those. All your PGA Championship recap needs, they're here. They're brought to you by us, but more importantly, they're brought to you by Chevy.
If it's distance you're after, Equinox EV offers 319 miles of EPA estimated electric range with front-wheel drive. Leave the driving to Equinox EV. Show up to the course energized with available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance technology. And the Equinox EV has a massive 17-inch diagonal center screen. These things really are awesome. We've been a bunch of different Chevys over the years now, and it's pretty impressive what that thing looks like. When it comes to EVs, Equinox EV is the smartest choice you can make. Let's do this.
Scottie's son, he's seen 6 wins. I don't know when they say you have your first memory, but Bennett is at some point, it's just going to be, I remember my mom holding me and us running onto the green at Hilton Head, the green at Quail Hollow, the green at wherever. And one of them, at some point, that's going to be Bennett's first memory because it's the thing that happens to him the most. It's like diaper changes and his dad wins a golf tournament. Like, that's pretty much it.
Foreplay, presented by Barstool Sports. It is the 2025 PGA Championship knee-jerk reaction show. You got myself and Trent Ryan. Scottie Scheffler is inevitable. It was a very interesting PGA Championship for a lot of different reasons. A very surprising PGA Championship, a very surprising major. I got a whole list of sort of stunning, notable missed cuts. I got a whole list of things that I want to go through from Thursday morning and mud balls and people texting me that are my buddies going, what in the fuck is this leaderboard? And then all of a sudden it ended up on the back nine on Sunday. There was a moment where Scottie Scheffler and John Rahm, who a couple years ago, it wasn't that long ago, John Rahm was the head honcho on the PGA Tour. Him and Scottie had that great match in the Ryder Cup that we just talked about in the last show with Colt Knost. And here they were going toe-to-toe with Bryson there. Somehow it kind of all came together. And then Scottie did the thing. He's a great friend of the program. He's been a sneaky Barstool fan that we kind of figured out when we met him. So we love Scottie Scheffler. And boy, he won the Byron Nelson 2 weeks ago by 8. And then he came out and won the PGA Championship, almost like backdoored his way into winning the PGA by a sneaky 5 shots. So congratulations to Scottie Scheffler.
Yeah, congratulations to Scottie Scheffler. Kind of just a weird tournament. And I don't want to say that we jinxed it in any way, but the last couple weeks leading up to the PGA Championship, we talked about how great the endings of the PGA Championship have been for the last 8 to 10 years. And when the day started, it felt like we probably weren't going to get it. And then there was about 45 minutes where Scottie hit every ball left and John Rahm started to charge, where it was like, all right, here we go. Now we're going to get one of those epic endings that we've had these last few years. And then it just kind of fell apart for Rahm and everything came together for Scottie. Congratulations to him. He's unbelievable. We've had a run this year of really, really good champions and really good winners. We've talked a lot about that on this show as well. Like Rory's won a ton like that. When guys like Rory and Scottie are winning golf tournaments, it's good for the game of golf. So, Scottie gets the second leg of his career Grand Slam. We talked a lot about that. Like, I have regret not betting on him, and we can talk about Rory here in a little bit, but it basically, like, the conversation I feel like that you and I were having was, all right, is Rory gonna keep his pedal to the metal because he's freed up, or is all of this Rory, Augusta, career Grand Slam, Tiger text, is all that gonna piss Scottie Scheffler off, and is he gonna be like, all right, I gotta start knocking out these legs because I've got 2 Masters, but that only puts me 25% of the way to a career Grand Slam? I think we got our answer today.
Yeah, we did. And, I had a lot of regrets over the weekend about not going with Scottie. There was a moment when I was watching live from coverage where Brandel finally cut and he did his thing, and it was like Tuesday night or whatever the hell it was. and he went in on Scottie Scheffler, and he basically said to the rest of the panel, to Rich Lerner and to Paul McGinley up there, like, if anyone beats Scottie Scheffler this week, they will be the PGA champion. Like that, this course, the way he played it, the Byron, the way he's trending, it's his to lose, and he laid it all out much better than that. And then, of course, Scottie goes out there, and man, I was watching that featured group coverage on Thursday morning that had Rory, Scottie, Xander, when they all three doubled the 16th hole. There wasn't a lot of jam, wasn't a lot of mojo, and then Scottie finished with like 2 birdies on his last 3 holes to somehow get in at 2 under while the other guys didn't. And, he said he was fighting his swing still Friday. He grinded his way to a 3 under. And you look at the leaderboard after Friday, and again, it was a hilariously bad leaderboard just for general juice in the world of sports. If you tune into that puppy, because there was a moment on Sunday at the Masters where you could take a screenshot of the leaderboard, because they always dwindle the leaderboard down to just like who's now actually relevant in the tournament. They do a great job of that, CBS. And it was just the biggest, heaviest hitters, like Justin Rose. Obviously, he's not like the name of Rory, but people know Justin Rose. He won the medal. He won U.S. Open. People know Justin Rose. And it was like Rory, Bryson, Rowe. It was all these names like Ludwig, Scottie. Those were like the names at the Masters. And then, boy, there were some screenshots that were being sent in my group text from my buddies going, what am I watching? What is this? Is this the Wyndham Champion? Like, what is this? That it was Ryan Gerard, and it was Jonathan Vegas, and it was like a couple of, and so you're a little bit like, what is happening? But somehow in that mix, when I believe Jonathan Vegas, who had a great week, he still ended up with a very strong finish. I want to talk about him a little bit, but there was a moment where I woke up, Saturday morning and was looking at that leaderboard, and it was like Jonathan Vegas was 8 under. A couple people were like 7 and 6, and then Scottie Scheffler was 5 under. I was like, oh, he's obviously just going to win this tournament. He was plus 250, and I bet on Matthew Pavone instead, is who I've decided to bet on now. Don't get me wrong. I love Matthew Pavone. We were doing the whole French thing. We were ordering a croissant the whole weekend. We were trying to get into it because he was 35-1, and he was like 1 shot off the lead. I remember we had him on the podcast last year after the U.S. Open, and he had a very chill demeanor about him. And I was like, this guy's going to get it done. I don't know if we even finished the golf tournament, to be honest with you. I have no idea where he is. But my point in saying all of that was like, your brain plays crazy tricks on you to try to convince yourself of something other than what's just the most obvious. And it was, of course, Scottie Scheffler was going to win this golf tournament. This was such a ball strikers golf course with the 16, 17, and 18. The Green Mile pretty much dictated everybody's round of golf, to the point where Scottie on Saturday afternoon completely put a stranglehold on the golf tournament when everyone's shooting. They had the graphic that went up today that was like the entire field is, I think, 300 under par on hole 14 and 15, and they were 500 over par on holes 16 through 18. And Scottie on Saturday afternoon went birdie through the Green Mile. He actually had a great chance on 16 too. So he went par, birdie after going birdie, eagle, or eagle, birdie, following a bogey, where he always backs it up. So it was just inevitable. It's the Scottie Scheffler show. He's awesome, by the way, dude. Him hitting that third shot into 18 and then like breaking down, that was reminiscent of Tiger with Steve Williams after like his dad passed away. Of like, you could tell Ted Scott was almost even surprised. Scottie like put his arm around him and got emotional in the fairway of the 18th hole of the PGA Championship. And then him afterwards just charging over to find Meredith and to find Bennett and have his whole moment with his family. He's just the best. He's got the moment with his coach and his family. And you're just like, this guy, he really is just the best. And then for him to also be the best golfer, I got a bunch of stats and whatnot that I want to go through. But Scottie has also reached the level of, he truly is so good that alone just makes him fascinating to watch play golf, is just how good he is.
Yeah, and I can't really pin down his emotions. I don't know when they're going to come out and when they're going to happen. Like you're saying, his third shot on 18 hits a great shot, puts it right over the hole, and you're like, oh, wow, what a great shot. He's obviously going to win this tournament. He's up by $1 billion. But I didn't think that would be the moment where he would start to cry. And then he gets up there, he 2-putts for a bogey, which nobody cares about and history will forget about. And he hugs Ted Scott.
Oh, no, Trent. Oh, no, Trent.
Oh, will they not?
The internet is very much remembering that I called 72nd hole bogey from the winner of the golf tournament. And that cashed because of Scottie's 2-putt on the 72nd
I stand
hole
corrected.
of the golf tournament. So
I
I would
stand
like
corrected.
to correct you. Thank you.
History will remember that. And I also, very quickly, we did the snake draft for DraftKings last week on Thursday's show. And I did I think it was 2+ hole-in-ones for the tournament. Just completely forgot to bet it. So I didn't reap the benefits of that one. I had so many people tweeting and DMing me being like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
That was a huge one.
I think it was plus 850. And I just had to look at those messages and look at those tweets. And it's one of those things where I bet Rory to win it, and I bet a few other things, and I just completely blew it on betting that. But for anybody out there who bet on the DraftKings Sportsbook 2+ hole-in-ones, congratulations on that one. But back to Scottie's emotional state. All right, so he makes the putt to win, and then he hugs Ted Scott, and he sort of backs up and puts his arms up to the crowd. And you think, oh, that's a really nice moment. And it was. And then he grabs his hat and spikes it into the ground at 1 million miles per hour. And it made me so happy. But the emotions of it were a little random, I thought. And I think that's just kind of the guy that he is, where the narrative surrounding Scottie a little bit is we don't know where this guy's coming from, what matters to him, what doesn't matter to him. When does he get emotional? Like we talked with Colt Nost on the last show. We've heard stories about him being a fiery, competitive guy, but you see it so infrequently to the point where people call him boring. Like you got a guy like Jon Rahm in the field who wears his emotions on his sleeve. You know how he's feeling all the time, 24/7 when he's on camera. Scottie is the complete opposite. So when you finally see the emotions and they come out at seemingly odd times, it's just an interesting thing to me. Or they'll ask him in a press conference, like, what does winning an Olympic gold mean to you? And normally you'll hear an answer like, oh my gosh, playing for my country is great. And I'm sure Scottie has said those things, but I remember he ended one of them with, ultimately, we're just going to be forgotten. So that's going to be my legacy. Ultimately, we just get forgotten. So he's really interesting. He's actually not that boring. It's just his emotions come and go in such a way that you just can't pin him down. And I find that it's weirdly fascinating to me.
It's a great point because he is he is hard to predict with that stuff. And I feel like he could come at you in an interview from either different direction of it. And one of them is, the religious stuff, where I've heard him many times be like, oh yeah, I know, like when I show up and play in these tournaments, I've done all the preparation that I can do, but what happens out there is in God's plan, and it's already God's plan. And then so I'm like, oh, so he almost like doesn't even care if he performs well or not, because it's almost like he believes that his Lord and Savior has had this plan all along, no matter what. And all Scottie. And then other times, like you said, you see him spiking his hat like Tiger in 2008 at Bay Hill, and you're like, where did that come from? You won the golf tournament an hour ago. You're up by $1 trillion, and sometimes he's pretty robotic. So I'm with you. I think he's way more interesting than people give him credit for. He says very interesting things in interviews and sort of always has. He was very outspoken Thursday about the mud ball situation. You could see just how incredibly rattled he was about it, but he didn't just say like mud balls are infuriating, I can't believe the ruling to play the ball down. Instead, he very clearly articulated it, and he was like, yeah, I just think when you spend your entire life practicing one thing, which is learning to control your golf ball as best as possible, and you feel like you've gotten to the point where you control your golf ball the best that you could possibly control your golf ball, and then there's an element added to it where you just completely lose control of your golf ball, he was like, that's incredibly frustrating. And so him explaining it like that was just so interesting. He had another great line. You kind of mentioned off the top about him hitting it left all over. And Amanda Balionis asked him, like, oh, yeah, what'd you find in your swing between the front nine and the back nine? He just goes, I don't know. I just kept hitting it left, is what he said about, which was perfect. I love that.
But both those things go to how unpredictable he is in almost every way, where you're saying the mud ball thing, he's got like a Belichickian answer where he's like, listen, I'm now going to talk for 10 minutes about these mud balls. I'm the best ball striker in the world. I clearly have an opinion on what happens to your ball when there's mud on it and there's not mud on it. And then you would think he would give a similar answer. It's a different setting. He already won the golf tournament. Amanda's asking him a question. I understand that but you would think he would be like, oh yeah, mechanically I felt a little this and a little that, but instead he was just like, yeah, I don't know what was going on. I just keep hitting the left, and it's like, I can't. This guy, I don't know what's going on with him, but he keeps me guessing, and I kind of like it.
I do too. I'm a big fan of Scottie, a huge fan of Scottie Scheffler. I think to be as good as he is at golf is so insanely difficult. I want to get into the weeds a little bit. I want to get a little bit deeper on Scottie's run, on his win, on how he's playing in general. Before I do that, it's a big week in the foreplay world. So we got a couple things we just got to mention right off the top. Tuesday, Father's Day merchandise. This is one of my favorite drops that we've done in a while. So much so that we were all texting our merch team unsolicited once we got our box, being like, this stuff is sick. We got a couple hats coming out in the Father's Day collection. We've got golf dad stuff. We've got some really good another blade collar. We've got this polo that I'm rocking, and Trent's wearing a great, nice color. It's like a little, it's like a purplish. What's like a soft purple kind of like?
Is that magenta?
It's a little bit. Shout out to Club Magenta. It's almost a little magenta-y. I know Jonesy's in love with this hat. I think you are too. He's rocking one of the new hats. But store.barstoolsports.com Tuesday, Father's Day line. It's that type of time of year. It's like late spring, early summer is kind of what we're getting into. So we got a whole new line coming out that is, again, something I'm going to be rocking a bunch of the new items for as long as I possibly can until I'm forced to wear new stuff in a new drop. Hopefully a long way away, because that's how much I like the new stuff.
I don't think it's any accident that because I'm with you. I think this is our best Father's Day drop we've ever had. I think our group collectively has been inspired by the fatherhood that Brendan Jones and Frankie Borelli have entered. That I think we want to put out some of the best stuff we've ever done. Clearly, we've launched Golf Dad and the hat and the shirt, and I know there's a crew neck. My dad's got the crew neck. He loves it. Like, I think this stuff is really, really good, and it's just so it's true to our brand now because we've got two dads in the group, and the stuff is really, really, really great. So look out for that. Buy a bunch of it. Buy it for your dad. Buy it for your brother. Buy it for whatever dad is in your life and he plays golf. We've got great, great, great stuff for him.
Yeah, they play less, but it means more. That very much speaks to the brand now. So it's Father's Day coming up. Great time of year. Get a gift, get something for yourself. So check that out. Tuesday we'll be posting all over the place, but store.barstoolsports.com. And then Thursday is one of the most anticipated videos in our history. It's more than half of a decade in the making. It is a foreplay crew against the SPITTIN CHICLETS crew. It is Yandel, Biz, and Ryan Whitney, myself, Frankie, and Trent. And this is a marathon of a video. We ended up going to Atlanta. Biz, of course, working TNT, working NHL playoffs. If folks recall, about a month or so ago, was when kind of the hype. We were on the about a 2-week-long work, kind of travel trip. We were all over that state of Georgia. We went to Macklemore, and at the very front end of that, we filmed from pretty much all day with the Chiclets guys. We filmed 27 holes. We were kind of going back and forth with the video. How exactly do we want to do this? Because it's been so much in the making. We want to do stuff for the Chiclets channel. We want to do stuff for our channel. We want to get a good mix of like scramble and vibes and alternate shot. But we also want to get those singles matches in, because the history between myself and Whitney, and you've also got Biz and Trent, and you've got Yandel and Frankie, and like there's a lot there. So what we did was 27 holes. We filmed 3 different formats. And the way that the whole cookie crumbled, our guys, Brendan Jones, Tim's, Jared, our crew, grabbed the reins, and and Chiclets guys agreed, we're going to put the entire video, all 27 holes, the whole aggregate of that match in one video for the Foreplay channel. And then coming very soon, later this year, we're going to do a classic sandbagger against the Chiclets guys for the Chiclets channel. But this Thursday, the entire Chiclets video is on the Foreplay channel. This, Brendan Jones, you can hop on and talk about this here. This has got to be just like a 2-hour video. How long is this thing?
This thing's a movie, man. It's like 3 hours right now.
Yeah. I was gonna
and
say.
to your point, there's so much history. We have a really cool tease being worked on right now. Just like pulling old Barstool radio clips. just like random stuff from the Chicklets podcast to like legit, 7 years old. Like this video's been in the making. So I actually said to our guys, and we're getting a little bit of help too inside Barstool, like pulling some of these clips. I said this is the biggest thing we've done since the first Tiger Woods video, for sure.
Yeah. Wow.
I don't think that there's any more hype, or there could be any more hype other than the Tiger video. Yeah, it's a movie. It's as long as could be. Yeah, legit 27 holes. Finish as the sun's coming down type deal. Yeah, people are gonna love it. It's gonna be kind of worth it for sure.
Yeah, it's a huge, huge video. I know a lot of anticipation. Very funny. It was a very funny day being out there with those guys. We were drinking, we were hanging, we were competing. They're very funny with their hockey humor. Obviously, we were all amped up. We really wanted to bring it. Where the golf guys were trying to like defend the castle a little bit when it comes to like, well, if we're the golf guys, we need to win the golf match. We had a perfect day out there. Very cool course, and it's as good as I actually can't wait to watch it. I just remember obviously being there and us playing, but like I haven't seen any of the footage. And I'm very excited to watch it.
Yeah, one
I'm
thing
glad
I
we're
will
doing
note.
a recap Barstool radio like montage, because I would imagine there's a lot of people out there who aren't aware of the rivalry. Really, like they're just. I mean, we're just a couple of big brands at Barstool. People are probably like, oh, if you're a hockey guy, you watch Chicklets, and if you like golf, you watch Foreplay. Probably, and there's some cross pollination there. But I bet there's a lot of people who have no idea the history of all of it. So that'll be very cool to take a trip down memory lane. I'm excited to watch that. Like you said, I mean, I was there, but I'm excited to watch this whole thing back. Because who puts out 27 whole videos on a YouTube channel? I feel like people don't do that. Two groups, different formats. Like most people would chop this up, and we're just like, no, we're just going to throw everything at you, which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, one thing too I want to note is that originally, like you said, it was supposed to be 9 holes on their channel, a scramble, and then we were going to take the back 18. So the way that Chicklets shoots things and the way that we shoot things is a little bit different, right? So that first 9 holes, there was like a shit ton of cameras out there. They go a camera guy, where we try to keep it a little bit more sparse when it comes to the camera crew. So it'll probably look a little different that first 9 holes, not in terms of like the edit or anything like that, but there will be more bodies out there, right? Like just in shots and shit, which it is what it is. It's not usually how we do things, but it's just a little inside baseball stuff. But then as soon as that front 9 ends, it goes to the more like foreplay style, and there's like less camera people and shots and shit like that. But yeah, it's awesome. Everything was covered. I guess you could say that for sure.
Incredible. Yeah, it's tricky. It's tricky to try to take, what we probably would have if everybody had more time. Everybody's busy. If we had 2 or 3 days to all film together,
Right.
we would have loved to have gotten 3 different videos, or 4, 2 for each channel. And we kind of tried to do all that in one day, and it ended up being quite a lot. So credit to the Chicklets guys who, I think Frankie and you were kind of pushing, being like, hey, I kind of think this should maybe just be one big video. I think it's better for the fans that way. Because again, it could have been really easy for us to be like, Chicklets, you take 9, we'll take another 9, or we'll take the 18, which is what we were originally going to do, and blah, blah, blah. And instead, it was like, let's put all this in one, make it one awesome video, and we'll go film with those guys again in the future. And they're obviously allowing us to put that on our channel, and then the next one will go on theirs. So it's big. It's a lot of history, some big time golf. There were some huge moments, huge shots. Alternate shot in that, like we've never done that, like 3v3 alternate shot, where it's truly like you have to step up for your team. And like if scramble, you have an opportunity to step up, but you very rarely can like blow it because you have 2 other guys to try. Alternate shot is truly, you have an opportunity, you're forced into an opportunity of you either blow it or you step up. That's like, those are, you can't hide. It's just alternate shot. And so that was very fun with all the chirping going on. So yeah, it's a big one. And I can't wait for people to see it, because it was a really fun day out there.
Agreed.
All right. I want to get back into Scottie Scheffler's, a bunch of stuff that I wrote down here. Scottie Scheffler, since February 13th, 2022, which is just over 3 years ago, which is the Waste Management Phoenix Open. That was his first victory on tour. Since then, Scottie has 15 PGA Tour wins. There are only 2 players in history that have gotten to 15 PGA Tour wins before the age of 29. Those two people are Tiger Woods and Jack Nicklaus. He's got 15 PGA Tour wins. He's now got 3 major championships, 2 Masters, and a PGA. He's got 2 Players Championships. He's got the Olympic gold medal. He also, in his last 8 54-hole leads, is 8 for 8 in closing and getting the job done. That might sound like, okay, of course you're leading, you're supposed to win. On the PGA Tour, the 54-hole leader converts and wins only about 1/3 of the time. And it even goes as far as I looked this up as well. Even if you have a 4-stroke lead going into the final round, you win. They lose or don't win that about 22% of the time, even having a 4-stroke lead. And Brandel, again, when he was on the show during the Masters tournament, was talking about the lead and how detrimental the lead is, how it's worse for people than having like a bad back. So playing with the lead is about as hard as it gets out there. We saw some of it even from Scottie today, but for him to be 8 for his last 8 when leading a golf tournament, he is just an absolute dog when it comes to closing out golf tournaments. Scottie Scheffler, in terms of the stats on the PGA Tour this year, and again, he's had the hand injury. People were like, slow start. He hadn't won until the Byron a couple weeks ago. Scottie Scheffler in strokes gained this year. Strokes gained total, first. Strokes gained off the tee, second. Strokes gained on approach shots, first. Strokes gained putting, 19th. If you recall, a couple years ago, he was incredibly flustered about how poor his putting was. They did a whole Full Swing episode pretty much about it. Proximity to the hole, he is first. Scrambling, he is first. Scoring average on the PGA Tour, he is first. So in nearly every statistical category, he is the number 1 or 2 player. Then when you get to putting, which again has been kind of considered one of his weakest points, he's the 19th best player, strokes gained putting, on the entire PGA Tour throughout this year. You add all that up, and he is just a dominant player. We were talking about this with Rory after the Masters and trying to compare where he stacks up or could potentially end up when it comes to all-time greats of the game. Scottie's at 3 majors already, and again, that happened in just 3 years, and he's at 15 wins. If you get to 7 majors or you get to around 40 wins, you're a top 10 player in the history of the game. That's just those are just the numbers. He's already at 3 majors, like I said, and he did it in just 3 years. So for him to get to 6 or 7 doesn't feel that crazy. In fact, that feels pretty inevitable. 40 wins is a shit ton, but again, he's gotten 15 in 3 years. And if you look and, when he's Rory's age, 35, 36 years old, which would be another 7, almost 8 years out there on tour, you don't think he's going to have another 15, 20, 30, 40 wins and get himself up there total to 40 wins. I think right now that feels crazy to say. Of course, he's going to do that. So Scottie Scheffler, again, he could never win again. We see this all the time, but he does, Trent. He's got that thing that everybody kind of feels that this isn't just like when JT went on that run in 2017. This isn't like when Rahm a couple years ago came out and started the year with like 4 wins, including the Masters tournament. And don't get me wrong, Rahm's a great player, but it's like those guys are some of the better players in the world, top 10, 15 players in the world who have really hot stretches. Scottie, it feels like he's not on a hot stretch. Scottie feels like this is his normal for the next decade is what it feels like.
Well, he's put together a Hall of Fame career in 3 years. Like he could hang up right now and he would go into the Hall of Fame. And to me, I mean, you listed off all the stats. It's the ball striking. If you can strike the ball the way that Scottie Scheffler does that, you can be like, they were going through the numbers on the broadcast, and I don't remember them off the top of my head, but his putting was way down. And we all knew that because I remember a couple years ago when the conversation was, man, imagine how good Scottie would be because he led all those statistical categories that you talked about. But his putting, he was like 110th in the world in putting. And you're like, what would happen if he became just an average putter? And then he became an above average putter and he won a million tournaments. And now he's got 3 majors and he's got 2 Players Championships. Like he is showing you what he can be when his putting is just, I mean, it's pretty good now. You said 19th. Like that's pretty damn good. But even when it was like he was 50th or 60th, he was still winning golf tournaments. But I do think when you can strike the ball as consistently as Scottie Scheffler does, you're just going to win a shit ton of tournaments. And for whatever reason, he's been able to bottle up. Him and Randy Smith are just like, this is what we got to do to hit the ball like this. And if we keep doing this, good things are going to happen. Yeah, he got off to kind of a slow start this year, I guess. I mean, he ended up winning the Byron Nelson by a million strokes, and Rory sort of dominated the early part of the year. But now he's got his mojo back. That injury, that hand injury, that I think in the back of some of our heads, we were like, wouldn't that be a real shame if that ended up like derailing a career that we would, they're going to write books about. That doesn't seem to be the case. Like now he's back in his winning ways. And I just don't see it going away anytime soon. And I think you could probably go back and listen to some of our podcasts when Rahm had his run or JT's playing well or any of these guys, and we fall in love with them. And then they don't fall off the planet, but they stop winning because golf is that hard where you're like, oh yeah, no, you're not going to win every golf tournament. Of course not. But with Scottie, this run has been so extended and so consistent, and it doesn't feel like an aberration. That I'm totally with you. I think 40 wins is certainly within the possibility for him. I mean, 5 majors feels like a no-brainer. He might get to 5 this year. Like it's one of those things where I just don't think it's not a flash in the pan. We've had this going on for way too long. It's just since 2022 and on, this guy has been up there, won a bunch of times, and there's nothing about him. And it's a little crazy to say because his swing is so unconventional. And I'm not going to sit here and talk about Scottie Scheffler's swing. We've all been doing that for 3 years. The foot shuffle, all of it. But it works for him. And he seemed to have he's found a groove clearly that just works, and it's repeatable for him. So you normally wouldn't think a swing like that, but then you look at Jim Furyk and guy can repeat that and win the most money in PGA Tour history over his career. Like if you got something that works and you can find it and it's repetitive and you're as good and as talented as Scottie Scheffler is, you're going to win a shit ton of tournaments. And that's what he's doing.
I believe it was Tiger who said, if he putts kind of like lackluster, he's in contention. If he putts decently or like average, he wins. And if he putts well, he blows people out. He blows the whole field out. That's pretty much exactly what's happening. Now that he's 19th in strokes gained putting and, one of the better putters on the PGA Tour, he's winning by 8. He's winning major championship by 5. And he's just absolutely dominating. So it really, the ball striking is insane. Part of me loves that Scottie, going through a phase right now, which it might not be a phase. We're kind of arguing that it's not a phase. Going through what might be an era right now that we never forget of the greatest ball striking in history, or it's up there with the Tiger Woods dominance when they look at the stats, and I don't have all of them here, but they break them all down. His ball striking is so unimaginably good, and yet still he can have a Thursday where he's lost with his swing a little bit. He can have a front 9 on the final round where he's lost with his swing a little bit. So a big part of it for me watching is like, I love the relatability of golf and like understanding that you're never going to just get it. You're never going to just have it click and you have golf forever. You could be in the middle of this era, this tear, this whatever this is from Scottie. Maybe it's a longer thing. Maybe it's a 15-year, like most iconic golf ever played in history, and still show up on the front 9 of a major championship with a 3-shot lead and just be like, I cannot not hit the ball left right now. It's like he's going through, he knows everything about his golf swing. He gets there early. He's doing the warm up. He's loose. He's focused. He's as perfect as you can be, and then just can't not hit the ball left for 9 holes. And it's like, that's so beautiful to me that golf is that way and will be that way for everyone always, no matter who you are. And then the other part of me with that is just like, even with all of that, even with some of the bad stuff that you see or where it looks like he's frustrated, he's got mud balls, making double bogey on 16, all this stuff. It's like you look it up and he's still statistically so dominant. He's still under pressure on the back 9 in the Saturday and then again on Sunday, hit shot after shot after shot that was just phenomenal. When other people are falling off, struggling, all that, for Scottie to just be the man and grab the tournament, grab the bull by the horns and just be like, I'm the best. And then you look up and, he was just tied with Rahm, and now Rahm's 8 back and Scottie's got a 6-shot lead in the field. It's like, dude, this guy is not only so consistent and dominant with his ball striking. He's got some savagery inside of him that is able to deliver under pressure, and it's just awesome. It's very impressive.
He'll also shoot that 65 when he needs it, right? Like he was, 2 under, and then I think 3 under Thursday, Friday, and you're like, all right, he's like you were kind of saying earlier, he's there, he's on the bottom. Maybe got to scroll one time. You see Scottie Scheffler, Johnny Vegas is lighting this place on fire. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But then Saturday happens, and he shoots a 65, absolutely tears through the green mile, and then he's got a 3-shot lead going into Sunday, and that's the difference. Everybody else is just sort of like, all right, let's just get through this golf tournament. Let's get through these rounds. But when he needed that 65 to take that lead, he's 7-0 before this in 54-hole leads. He goes into Sunday with a 3-shot lead. It teeters back and forth, certainly during the front 9, but then he just figures it out and wins the golf tournament. But he'll just do that thing where he'll throw up a really low number when everybody else is sort of teetering. And that is what makes guys like him great.
Yep. 100%. It's what Tiger used to do. It's so hard for those guys to compete against when this guy is just that relentless. And then, like you said, can also he's grinding, throws that 65 on a windy day when everybody was kind of struggling. He's inevitable. And now, I mean, we're in a spot, right? We go into these tournaments. It was Rory for a decade of like going into the Masters and being like, he could win the career Grand Slam. And then we come into the PGA week, and it's always Jordan Spieth could win the career Grand Slam. U.S. Open, Phil Mickelson could win. Now, Scottie Scheffler could win the career Grand Slam this year. Like, he just could. Like, it wouldn't be. He's gonna be the favorite at the U.S. Open. He's gonna be the favorite at the Open Championship, and I'd be kind of stunned if he didn't win at least one of those. So it's like we're not too far off from having this conversation totally change to like, oh, Scottie had a literal Tiger year where he won 3 majors and completed the career Grand Slam. Like, he could just hijack this year from Rory McIlroy, and that wouldn't be that crazy at all.
And this is another time where he's going to confuse me, because they'll probably ask him that exact question or something around that exact question about like, what would it mean to you if you won at Oakmont and then you won the Open Championship to complete the career Grand Slam? And he could either be like, it's my life goal. I've been grinding my entire life since I was 7 years old. Me and my coach are working together. It's the thing I want the most. Or he'll say, we're made of stardust, and eventually we're all just going to blow away into the universe. And either one of those guys can show up, but I'm with you. I think he wins. I mean, he wins one of the next 2. I think almost for sure. And I will take that to the DraftKings Sportsbook, and I will place those wagers, because I just don't see him losing. Like, I don't know where we're going to be at with Rory. I know, again, you and I can talk about him at some point during this podcast, but where I'm at with Scottie now, he showed me his hand, and it's, I want to be great. And I want the career Grand Slam. I see all the hype that goes around that. And I think he wants it. As the competitor side of him wants nothing more.
Yep. And I think we saw that in the emotion, right? Like, dude, the emotion, not just Sunday, but like Saturday, when he made that putt on 18 on Saturday, and he gave, you saw him, what did he say? Like, fuck yeah, baby, under his breath or something like that. Oh, that was so money, of just like a true look into Scottie's brain of like, yeah, fuck yeah, baby. Like, come on. And that's a problem. That's a problem for everybody. So Scottie, he's got all the momentum back. Speaking of momentum, United States, that's our 10th straight American PGA champion.
Dude, when they were running the numbers at the beginning of the broadcast, I was stunned at how, there's been 4 European PGA champions. Like, that's 0. Like,
none.
This was the 107th. Like,
right,
bro, the Europeans ain't winning them. Who's winning them? It's the Americans. I couldn't believe how low that number was.
No, me neither. 10th straight, Scottie getting it done for the US of A. Absolutely massive. So Scottie Scheffler, it's about 40 minutes on Scottie, and he deserves all of it, because boy, he is the best player in the world. He's going to retain that, position for a long time, and he ain't going to stop winning anytime soon. So
also shout out to Bennett Scheffler, who I think has now seen, he's won.
God.
Scottie's son, he's seen 6 wins. Like, that's I mean, we could list them off. That's better than most guys' careers. Like, Bennett has been a part of way more trophy ceremonies than so many professional golfers.
Yeah, Bennett has like seen more wins in the last year for his family than like a lot of football fans have seen from their team
Right.
in the last
Right.
year.
I don't know when they say you have your first memory, but Bennett is at some point it's just going to be, I remember my mom holding me and us running onto the green at Hilton Head, the green at Quail Hollow, the green at wherever. And one of them, at some point, that's going to be Bennett's first memory because it's the thing that happens to him the most. It's like diaper changes and his dad wins a golf tournament. Like that's pretty much it.
It is just like if Scottie ever goes through a stretch in Bennett's life where he like doesn't win for a year or two, that poor kid is gonna, he's gonna be like, did somebody die? Like what? How come my life is changed? Where's that really cool thing where there's a crowd, there's all the people, everybody's excited about dad? He's gonna be so used to that. And me as a fan, it's almost just like it's like clockwork now. It's like Scottie wins. We don't know what we're going to get. He might not care. He might go crazy. He might spike a hat. You don't know what you're going to get. And then he tracks down. There's adorable Meredith holding Bennett. They do the whole thing where they're just like, yeah, like, he always wins, but we're still very happy. And then like, that's just like, we see it so many times and it's beautiful. But yeah, that shout out to Bennett. Just such a winner. That kid has only seen victories for his family. So the Schefflers are taking over this planet. NHL playoffs are here, and the only place to buy hard to get playoff tickets is Game Time, the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Also got a little NBA playoffs going on. Bummer about the Celtics just because I took them. I took them when they were down 2-0, and I thought, here we go. They were still like minus 120 or 150 or something. And then obviously the injury, the devastation. Thought we might have had a chance over the weekend, but didn't. But the point is, there's a lot going on. You want to go to games. You want to be a part of history. I love it. I got to go, and my beloved St. Louis Blues won the Stanley Cup 2019. I got to go to 3 games in the Stanley Cup Finals, all 3 in Boston. I was up there. Game Time. I was in there with Dave. He noogied me on the Jumbotron at one point, but the point was that I was there. I was in the building. And Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Check out Game Time. Go to concerts, go to shows, go to comedians, go to games.
Summer's right here. It's mid-May. Summer is pretty much here now. I'm in Florida now, and Miami's about an hour from me. I see the Cubs are playing the Marlins this week. I might have to check out one of those games. To get in the door, $13 on Game Time. You go on Game Time, put in your location, and it'll pop everything up that's near you. Concerts, shows, games, everything. Game Time, it's the best ticket app by far.
Take the guesswork out of buying NHL playoff tickets or any tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Make sure you create an account and then use the code FORE for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code FORE, F-O-R-E, for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. What time is it? Game Time. Truly Unruly Lemonade combines the high alc fun of Truly Unruly with everyone's favorite lemonade. We are big fans of Truly. We have been for a long time now. And they actually sponsor the From the Gallery segment. We love doing voicemails. This is a reaction podcast to the PGA Championship. So this is about going through everything that happened at one of the biggest events of the year. So we're not going to play a voicemail on this show, but a reminder that if you would like to submit a voicemail, 646-685-4717. And From the Gallery is brought to you. It's just like the Barstool Classic is. It's brought to you by Truly, and it's brought to you right now by the Truly Unruly Lemonades, 8% ABV, 100% delicious. Had a bunch of these in Pinehurst this past weekend. A couple of my Boston buddies in town just loving the Unrulies. And yeah, it's true. The Unrulies catch up with you a little bit. That 8%'s no joke.
They'll get you, but that's okay. You're having yourself a fun weekend out on the golf course. And the lemonade ones, woo, those things are real good. We're lemonade drinkers on this show, you and I. I know we both love lemonade. Even better as an Unruly. So just summer, again, is coming around the corner. It's pretty much here. Get your truly Unrulies and have yourself a damn good summer.
4 supercharged lemonade flavors: Bumpin' Blue Raz, OG Original Lemonade, Punched Up Pineapple, and Wild Pink. It's the official hard seltzer of Foreplay. Level up your lemonade with Truly Unruly. Find Truly Unruly Lemonade at a store near you or visit www.trulyhardseltzer.com. We got a lot more to get into. Notable miscuts I want to start with. And you always get this in any major championship, but I thought there were a lot more this time for whatever reason. Justin Thomas, he was one of the tournament favorites. He was one of my picks. I was bad on the picks. That's why I had to highlight the 72nd hole bogey thing because I was just bad on picks in general.
Yep.
Justin Thomas miscut, Jordan Spieth, Shane Lowry, Sepp Straka, Ludwig Oberg, Patrick Reed, Patrick Cantlay, Jason Day, Brooks Koepka, Cam Smith, Justin Rose, Dustin Johnson, Phil Mickelson, Hideki Matsuyama, and shout out to Hideki, who missed the cut and then was just grinding on the range, absolutely ripping bombs. Did you see those clips?
I did see that. It was amazing. I don't know what he was doing. Like I must have had the TV muted at that point, and or maybe I saw a video of it when I was scrolling Twitter, and I just saw a video of a very sweaty Hideki Matsuyama swinging out of his shoes on the driving range, and I was like, I don't know what's going on there, but I like it. I like what's going on there with him.
Me too. I love it. I love Hideki ever since it was actually at Quail Hollow. I think it was the 2017 PGA at Quail Hollow where Hideki was in the mix and came up short. And somebody did a really good profile on him. And it starts with like him hiding behind not hiding, he's like behind the hospitality media center tent or something on the 18th hole with like his head in his hands, clearly emotional, hiding from like all the Japanese media. As a guy that like had never gotten over the hump and couldn't get over the hump. He's obviously since then won the Masters and all that, but it was like the stress that he deals with because people don't understand how big of a celebrity he is in Japan. And that made me love Hideki. Was reading this profile on him. He drives like a minivan in Orlando and like nobody knows who he is. He just seems like a great dude. So when I saw that clip of Hideki, I loved it. That was
right.
awesome.
If you had asked us, all right, who is going to be on the driving range? Who's going to be sweaty on the driving range late after a miscut? What golfer is going to do that? I mean, Bryson is the minus 500 million favorite, and Hideki Matsuyama just happened to be that guy. It was a strange video, but I'm glad we have it forever.
Me too. I loved it. Let's talk about Bryson real quick, and then we can get to Mr. McIlroy. We got a lot to talk about with Mr. McIlroy. Bryson with a tied for second finish. That means if you go back to last year's Masters tournament, in the 6 major championships since, he has gone tied for 6th, 2nd, 1st, miscut, tied for 5th, tied for 2nd. This is a guy, too, who won his first live event in years just last week or a couple of weeks ago. So it's not like he's winning week in and week out and then also bringing it for the majors. He's really kind of found a way to elevate his game for the major championships. I believe he led the entire field in driving distance this week, and I think he was probably up there in strokes gained off the tee, if not number one. Iron play still quite suspect. It cost him, especially around the Green Mile, quite a bit. They were kind of hammering him. The analysts were, and then, the coverage, of course, which is, you got to talk about it. It is what it is. It was really, poor. I think he was 50 something out of like 70 people to make the cut this week and at the Masters last month in terms of strokes gained with approach. So that's something to watch for going forward. But regardless, his short game is insane for somebody who drives the ball like he does. Oh my God. His short game is insane, and his putting is great. I don't know where he's at statistically with putting, but every time they cut to him, I feel like he's going to make it. I think through the first couple rounds, they were saying he was like 10 for 11 between 4 and 8 feet. And 8 feet is like the 50-50 cutoff on tour between miss and make. So for him to be pretty much making all of those on those greens that were fast, firm, it's windy out there, is so hard to do. And for him to be doing, I know we mentioned it before, but you got to really factor this stuff in. This guy is doing the YouTube stuff, okay? He's as big as you can be in golf YouTube, which is our entire job in life. And like, that's a very big commitment. And he's way bigger at it than we are. It takes an amazing amount of time. He's very big on social media. He did like the most viral thing since like Jersey Jerry in the world of like golf social media, which is I'm going to get a hole in one hitting it over my house every day. And then he's grinding, hitting balls before the round, after the round, nonstop. He's never not on that driving range. And then for him to be doing all of that and then still contend major championship after major championship, which have the highest pressure, the biggest crowds, by far the hardest setups. Shout out to Quail Hollow, which held up, which we're going to talk about too. But the hardest setups. It's so easy to go out and do what Justin Thomas did or Ludwig did, where it's like you're a little bit off at a major. You could shoot 77, 75 easily and miss the cut by like 5 shots. And again, he did miss a cut at the British last year. But outside of that, he's been inside the top 6 in all of them. He's had really good chances to win in 4 or 5 of the 6. And he did win the U.S. Open at Pinehurst. He almost won the PGA last year. He almost won the Masters tournament this year. And there was a stretch there over the weekend. He was leading the tournament Saturday, and then he was right there again today. So, say whatever you want. We've been up and down with Bryson. We've had him on the show a million times. It's been a couple of years. We were there celebrating with him after he won the U.S. Open at Winged Foot, and then he wouldn't talk to us for a couple of years. Been all over the place with this guy. But I got to just say, huge credit to Bryson bringing it in the majors. Insanely impressive to do that.
Very impressive. And Amanda asked him a really good question, I thought, after the round, which was essentially, do you take these top finishes in these last few majors do you think of them as missed opportunities, or are you building towards something that you're eventually going to crescendo and you're going to win one of these? And his answer, he said a little bit of both, which I think is probably true, but I've already got my eye on Bryson for Oakmont. I think things are heading in the right direction. I think he's going to bomb the shit out of that golf ball. If he can just figure out the irons, because the short game and putting, as you mentioned, were incredible. Every time he was in sort of a bad spot and he had a little chip and just a little wedge on, he put it really close to the hole. And yeah, there's just something about him in U.S. Opens. Maybe I feel really good about him heading to Oakmont. I was looking at the DraftKings Sportsbook. I just saw it. He's 12-1. So
wow,
pretty good odds there.
I might get him on. I might get on him right now on that. It's nice,
dude. I might too. And Bryson is always going to be an interesting guy, but you can't deny the results. Like, he's just in these majors outside of that miscut. He's always up there, and he likes the bright lights and he likes the attention and he likes running down the fairways, slapping people's hands, and that's just kind of who he is right now. So overall, I think he's got to take these certainly this week as a positive. And I think I'm going to bet on him for Oakmont. That's just my early prediction.
I'm going to join you on that. I really like him for that place. And look, I think it'd be one thing. Like there was probably a stretch where Bryson was getting a ton of media, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago. And people were probably like, this guy, almost a little Ricky-esque, where people were like, does this guy deserve all the attention he's getting? People were commenting about him spritzing golf balls. And then the next week it's about his single length irons. And then it's about him bulking up. I guess a big part of it for me now is he deserves all of the attention he gets in, tenfold, because he's nearly winning and competing in every single major championship. And that is just, he deserves to be talked about. He deserves to be covered. He deserves to be showed on TV nonstop, because he's in the biggest events that are the most difficult with the toughest fields. He is like the most consistent competitor over the last 2 years, or at least up there with, Rory and Scottie and Xander. And so it's like, it may be even better overall if you factor all 6 of them in. So it's just very deserved credit to him for playing as well as he's played in these majors with everything else going on. It's just, he's a busy guy, clearly. He's got a lot of stamina, and boy, he just keeps delivering in the majors. So it's very
well,
impressive.
Because if you think about the flip side of him, like, think in an alternate reality, he hasn't finished in the top 20 in the past 2 years, 3 years of majors. People are like, oh, you're doing too much YouTube, oh, you're doing too much social media, oh, 100%. You're trying to be liked too much. Like, people would be picking his ass apart, including the 2 guys on this podcast right now. So the fact that he can do it, he can do all of these things and win at Pinehurst and get top 6s in all the last few majors, like, it's a credit to him. He's doing a shit ton, but he's still, professional golf is still his bread and butter. Like, I think he would say that. It's clearly the thing that made him famous and made him known to the public and has, made him successful in all these other avenues. But if he plays really good golf and wins golf tournaments, that's the thing that's going to make him the most popular.
Yeah, it's almost surreal, to be honest with you. He's almost like close, stunningly close to like a Happy Gilmore fictional character. Like he's like at Pinehurst. Yeah. I remember it being a surreal scene. You got this guy who's like, he's not as bulked up now, obviously, but he's hyped up. He's posted videos of him like doing super speed training. He's like breathing and hyping himself up to hit tee shots, and then bombing balls all over Pinehurst, like iconic fairways, and then high-fiving crowds and going nuts and like running in with the fans. And then with all of that going on, while the other guy, Rory, is like melting down and missing putts, Bryson's hitting the most heroic shot where they put a plaque in at Pinehurst. He's getting up and down at 18. And then he joins the TV set, and he's got him and Johnson Wagner, and they're hitting the shot afterwards. And it's like the crowd's all kissing the trophy, and he's making sure everybody touches it. It's like a fucking movie with this guy. So, like, just for him to be doing all of that and get a good amount of attention would be one thing. To be doing all of that and then almost winning majors and winning majors, who won the US Open last year, it's just it's shocking, and it's awesome. It's actually it's like awesome.
It is awesome, and we don't have to do the whole Bryson thing right now. I would say the devil's advocate of that would be like, it just doesn't feel the way you think it should feel. Like, I
agree with that. I completely agree with that.
Right. Like, what are the motivations? Like, what does when Bryson DeChambeau lays in bed at night and stares at the ceiling, does he map out his whole next day of like, here's what I'm going to do in the front of the cameras. I'm going to join the set. And then if I win, I'm going to let everybody touch the trophy. Like, that's the part that at least there's a certain percentage of people, and we've been a part of them on and off for the last few years, of like, I just don't know how genuine it all is. But overall, I completely agree with you. What he's doing, we've always wanted interesting people in the game of golf, and he is number one. So whatever he's doing, keep doing it. There's always going to be those detractors, and it is what it is. But like, overall, he is a net positive for the game of golf.
Yep. I completely agree. And I'll never not, have some sort of reservations just in general with Bryson. It's just some of the weird stuff and the rope incident. I think that just said a lot of, just like I can never get over that, with just like, what is wrong with this? But again, he's always different. And overall, I think it's just really, it's like so admirable how much effort he's putting into all of this and how much it's delivering for people. It's delivering entertainment. It's delivering fandom. It's delivering great finishes at major championships. He's just kind of delivering on a lot of fronts. And no matter what you think about the guy, that's insanely, tough to do. And he's doing it week in and week out of these majors. So yeah, a big credit to Bryson DeChambeau. Another great week from him. Rory McIlroy finished T47, I believe. I think he was like 3 over for the championship total. A weird week for Rory McIlroy, a very weird week. Didn't know what to expect coming off of the Masters. That release and the celebration that everyone will remember, that unimaginable up and down final round, and really Masters total from that Thursday where, he was 4 under, and then he had 2 doubles, and then he had 2 back-to-back phenomenal rounds, and then just a roller coaster of a final round that concluded in the career Grand Slam. And then he went kind of dark for a couple of weeks, and he went and saw his, parents overseas, came back, played the Zurich, and it was kind of almost like a little victory lap. It was like him and Shane Lowry out there giggling, laughing, playing some team golf. He didn't really drive it particularly well last week at Philly Cricket Club, but everyone was thinking, okay, coming in, he's got house money comments, the weight of the world lifted off of his shoulders. He's won at Quail Hollow 4 times. It's basically Rory McIlroy Country Club. What are we going to get? And we got a really weird week. There's a report that his driver was deemed non-conforming by the USGA on, I guess, Tuesday. So he was using a backup or a new or a different driver for the week. Did not hit the ball particularly well, especially Thursday when I was really watching. I didn't really watch him much after that. And he declined media all 4 days. So after each round, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, for folks who don't know how it works, you as a media member that is approved and credentialed for the PGA Championship, you can at any time put in a request for a player after their round to be interviewed. A lot of times that pretty much most of the time, unless it's a really big player, they go into the big press conference if they're leading the tournament or something like that, or something really big happens. But usually they end up going over to that little like scrum thing that's got the pop-up deal, and they kind of throw questions at him. So much like I've done that to Kevin Kisner a bunch of times, where Kevin Kisner will come out after like an average round in a major championship, and they're like, you have a media request. And he's like, what are you talking about? I never have media requests. And it's like me standing there, and then you interview him. So anyone can submit. And obviously Rory gets a million of them. So he's requested by media after every single round. declined all 4 days. We've had this conversation a bunch. Colin Morikawa, probably most notable this year, where he declined to do media after Bay Hill. Russell Henley had the chip in, and Colin Morikawa came up a little bit short and then didn't do media after. And then a couple days later, when he was asked about it at, the Players Championship or wherever it was, he was like, I don't feel like I owe you guys anything. That's not like what I feel like. And then that was taken by a lot of media members and fans different ways. And then, Shane Lowry after the Masters third round, he basically reiterated Colin Morikawa's comments. And then he didn't do media last week after he lost on Sunday. And then Rory McIlroy came out and did not do media after Pinehurst last year on Sunday when he lost, and then did not do media all 4 days this week. This one, I think, is different. I understand, we've talked a lot about the Pinehurst one, and I was almost like, I prefer that. Rory was so pissed off, upset, disappointed, whatever the emotion was, that, yeah, he just got in his car and left after the U.S. Open. He's not doing media. I love it. I have no issue. I hope he's breaking tables in the back, room. I don't hope he's out there going, oh, yeah, it was a fun week. I was close. Like, no, I don't want to fucking hear that. I don't want my guy pissed. This one is a little different. Just playing all 4 rounds. You've got the weight of the world off your shoulders. You claim you're out here playing house money and all that stuff. Loosey goosey, happy cat. You're a top player in history now, one of 6 people ever to get the career Grand Slam, and then to just deny media all 4 days. I'm not going to sit here because we've done it a million times where it's like I don't need the player to talk all the time. I'm not even going to say I'm criticizing Rory for it. I just think it comes off as a weird move. Is all I'm going to kind of say about it.
Yeah, I don't have a strong opinion on it. Other than like, I like hearing Rory talk. Like, I like to hear his opinions on things. So for him to just not even have the option to hear what he's got going on up in his head, like that's disappointing to me. I did want to talk about the driver thing. So when you hear, oh my God, Rory had a non-conforming driver, that I feel like it sets off alarm bells for a lot of people. Like, holy shit, is he cheating? Like, what's he doing? Is that fairly common on tour? Like, if you have a driver, the USGA tests it and it's not conforming. Like, I feel like when people hear that, they're gonna be like, oh my God, is this like a controversy? Is this a scandal? But I think it happens more times than we know about.
I'm actually glad you brought that up because I was researching this before the show because I think this gets misconstrued a lot, and it did last year, maybe 2 years ago, actually, when Rory made a comment about. He was like, I wish I could use my old driver, but I can't. And people misconstrued that as him saying that he's forced to use the newest driver from TaylorMade. In reality, what he was referring to was that his old driver had become non-conforming. So what I looked this up because non-conforming and like using an illegal driver are very different. So what happens is it says, a golf driver becomes non-conforming when it fails to meet the equipment standards set by the USGA and the R&A. Specifically, this often involves exceeding the allowable limits on what they call a driver's characteristic time, or CT, which measures how long the club face is in contact with the golf ball. A driver that exceeds the CT limit or fails other tests like length, groove dimensions is deemed non-conforming and cannot be used. So that other stuff is kind of more in line with like what people would consider controversial. It's like if you have a driver that's too long, or you have a driver, like, that's like, why are you doing that? This is very different. And I'm going to go a little deeper. It says the USGA and R&A set a limit on the CT of a driver's face, which is a measure of its springiness or how much it can deform upon impact. This is related to how the ball will travel. A driver with a CT above the limit will be considered non-conforming. The way this occurs is drivers can become non-conforming over time due to wear and tear, especially for players with high swing speeds. This is because the club face can become thinner or more flexible, potentially leading to a higher CT. So what happens is, like with a lot of these guys, is they say your driver or your 3-wood becomes hot, and like in
right.
I'm not a scientist over here or a physicist, but what I understand is like with these super high swing speeds and all of those impacts with the golf ball and the driver face, that it kind of changes the dynamics and physics of that face from when it was originally built and manufactured. It was conforming, but all that impact makes it thinner or more flexible, or whatever the science is, that it eventually gets to a point where the ball interacts with the face longer than it's allowed to, and that becomes, a non-conforming driver. And they randomly test these, and they tested, in this case, I guess they just randomly tested Rory's driver on Tuesday. It's non-conforming. He's not allowed to use it anymore.
Right, and that's not him trying to pull one over on the USGA and the tournament. It's just, he swings. It sounds like you swing really, really hard. The club's going really fast. You use it a bunch of times, and it might thin it out. And again, I'm also not a scientist, not a physicist, but it doesn't seem like it doesn't. And I are people connecting that with him not doing media? Like I would be like, I just don't understand why he wouldn't do media. I guess is interesting, and if it has anything to do with the driver.
I think people are more just like, okay, so he couldn't use his driver, so he's using a different driver. He clearly didn't like it as much because he was driving it like shit. And then he compounded all that to be like, I'm not doing media. And I think people were just like, we just want to hear from Rory. Like, what's going on? Are you fine? Is it all good? Are you like, I don't know. People just like to hear. I think people wanted to hear about the non-conforming thing. Is it true? Did that happen? Is that a bummer? Is that, did you notice a big difference in the driver, whatever? And just haven't heard from him. So I'm kind of with your original point of like, I just like to hear Rory talk. I like the way that he, is honest about stuff. He's always been candid. Yeah. And just to hear his thoughts on his feelings out there. Did he feel less focused because he was coming in a little more loosey-goosey? I don't know. I don't really know, but we didn't hear anything from him. It's just kind of interesting that we didn't hear anything from him,
Yeah. No, I'm with you too on like, it's one thing if it comes after a big moment, whether it be positive or negative on the golf course. Missing the putts at Pinehurst were obviously one where it's like, yeah, fuck off. I'm going to my private jet and I'm gone. But this one, it just felt like, why not? Let's chop it up. I'm less supportive of that, of just like completely fucking off the media when there isn't really a reason. When you're just like,
right,
I'm not going to do it. It's like, we'd love to hear from you.
The other thing is like, it's not like he has recent big success with this like approach. It's like at the Masters, he was doing media after every round. And then he won the Masters tournament. So it'd be like, I can understand if he had gone into the Masters and been like, no phone, no contact, no media, I'm locked in, won the Masters. And then he comes out to the PGA and he's like, that's what I do. That's how I win majors now. A month ago, we watched him at the Masters all week long. He's in the media center. After each round, he's in the media center pretty much. I think maybe after Thursday's round he didn't, but after the other ones, I remember he was in there most of the week. And then for him to like change that format and be like, I'm not going to do media, I don't know. It just came off as a little bit weird. Not that it's going to change anything for me with Mr. McIlroy. Huge Rory stan over here. Love the guy to death. Love watching him golf. Love hearing him talk. Would have loved to have heard him talk a little bit more. And just kind of a lackluster performance, a little bit surprising. But again, I mentioned all those names earlier of people that missed the cut. With prices going up on just about everything lately, being smart with your money isn't just a good idea, it's essential. But managing subscriptions, tracking spending, and cutting costs can feel very overwhelming. Luckily for you, Rocket Money takes the guesswork out of it so you can easily make smart decisions. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. See all your subscriptions in one place and know exactly where your money is going. This stuff has just been huge for us.
I love this app. I use it as my personal finance app. I really do. It helps me get all my finances in order. Before I had the Rocket Money app, I just wasn't good with my finances. And recently, I had a couple fraudulent charges on one of my cards. Bang, Rocket Money alerted me immediately. So they help you with that. They help you cancel the subscriptions that you don't want. It's just an all-inclusive finance app that before you have it, you don't know what you're doing. And then after, you just kind of know what you're doing with your finances, or at least you have a better idea as opposed to having zero idea. So in that regard, I love it. I use it pretty much every single day.
I do too. It's really nice to just kind of have a good idea. It really has done the subscription canceling, notifies you about them. You'd be stunned at the subscriptions that you've signed up with, especially now that we've been doing this for like 10 or 15 years in terms of like email subscriptions. I remember when we first started like with like Netflix and maybe like 15 years ago and you had one or two. It was like, okay, well, guess what? It's been like over a decade of that. And now they just add up. So Rocket Money is going to help you out. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions, reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Download the Rocket Money app, enter our show name, Foreplay, in the survey so that they know we sent you. Don't wait. Download the Rocket Money app today and Tell them you heard about them from our show. PGA Tour 2K25 Season 2 is out now, featuring the old course at St. Andrews Links, all new challenges, mode, and more. I'll be honest, I haven't been home in about 2 weeks. I haven't been back to Arizona about 2 weeks, but when I get home, I've been thinking about this for like 3 days straight now. I really, really want to get back into playing a little PGA Tour 2K25.
Well, you should do that. Everybody should do that. And you should join the Barstool Golf Society. We're putting events on there pretty much every week, so you can sign up. You can play in those. And as you mentioned, huge news of Season 2 of 2K, the old course. You can play St. Andrews on the video game, which is super cool. You know what I mean? It's just one of the best, maybe the best golf course on the planet Earth. And they're just like, here you go. It's in the video game now. You can play it. So download 2K, join the Barstool Golf Society, also play St. Andrews. There's just so many things that come along with when you download 2K and you play. It's just full of awesomeness. So definitely get involved. 2K is the best.
And for a limited time, the standard edition is currently 20% off on Xbox Series X and S for Game Pass subscribers, and the deluxe edition is 20% off on PS5. Digital only. Offer only available on Xbox Game Pass Core, Standard, and Ultimate subscription holders. Xbox offer ends May 27th, 2025. PS5 offer ends May 21st, 2025. Buy PGA Tour 2K25 now. So major championship setup. Quail Hollow, by the way, held up stunningly well. We only had one player who was better than 6 under par, and that is with a course that got completely soaked. We were there Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even up till like Wednesday afternoon, walking around. We weren't walking in the fairways, but we were walking right next to the fairways, and it was like soupy, squishy, all over the place. And for that golf course to hold up, I know there was all the mud ball stuff on Thursday, but after that, from Friday all the way through, the greens were incredibly firm. The wind kind of dried it out. And Quail Hollow, say whatever we say about going back to a venue that they do a tour event at. Quail Hollow, considering it really held up and played really difficult but fair. And I thought from just a pure golf course standpoint, kudos to the whole crew and to Quail Hollow because it stood up really well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a glowing compliment that I can give to Quail Hollow, but I will say it didn't take away from the golf tournament. I thought like wasn't like the mud ball thing. It did feel like it was getting a little dicey. Like we were kind of on the edge of like, I don't know, is there going to be a rebellion? Like, or what's going to happen here? Like I think Shane Lowry might like burn this place to the ground. But I just thought, as long it didn't become a main storyline of like Quail Hollow's a mess. And that's what you don't want. I'm with you that I like it's, we didn't have people blow that place out. And we've talked a lot about that, where it's like, I want the golf course to bite a little. I want guys to be uncomfortable. I don't want guys winning by going, 66, 63, 68, 65. Like that's just, just not as fun to watch when there's a major championship on the line. So I don't have I can't go on a huge rant about Quail Hollow one way or the other, but didn't take anything away from me. And I think the Green Mile's great. And they did show those graphics of like this 3-hole stretch is beating the fuck out of guys here down the stretch. And if it had been a closer tournament, I think we would have gotten more excited about that. But when a guy's up by 4 strokes, you're just like, he can put 2 in the water here and he's still going to win. So otherwise, I thought Quail Hollow, it was a pretty damn good venue.
Yeah, I thought so too. We got a little Game 7 action going on right here with the Leafs.
I know, I can see those eyes. I know you're watching it, and I know Brendan Jones is watching it too. We got Game 7. Leafs Panthers 0-0 first intermission. Leaf Panthers,
huge game, just huge. The Toronto Maple Leafs, Trent, are just that entire country. They're kind of leaning on this team. I mean, obviously the Oilers are buzzing, but Toronto, God, the media scrutiny that those players play under. I think it's been 67 years or something. Since they've been to the Stanley Cup Finals, which is when they won. They didn't win a playoff series for like decades. And then they finally did last year? And then they got swept in the next round. And then they come out, they win their first 2 games of the second series against the defending champs. Everybody's like, let's go. And then they looked horrible. They didn't score a goal for like 3 games. And now here they are in Game 7. So just a huge game. Everybody knows the result. That's listening to this right now. So
true.
Probably not that.
I had my own Game 7 experience today. I've long talked about on this podcast that I've I'm an Oklahoma City Thunder finals winner ticket holder. I bet them preseason to win the NBA finals, and they defeated the Denver Nuggets today in Game 7. So we're on to the Western Conference Finals, and I'm very excited about that.
Come on, Trent. That's huge. That's huge. You got that ticket.
They killed the Nuggets today. So it was a Game 7s can usually be pretty stressful, but for most of the game today, they were just blowing them out. So I was thrilled.
It's a nice feeling. That's a very nice feeling.
Yeah.
Michael Block, good old Blocky, the Block Party. He had
maybe one of my favorite quotes in sports history, I think.
Phenomenal quote. I mean, as good a quote as you could see come across your desk was this Michael Block quote. So he shot like 75 and like 82 or something, missed the cut by a trillion. Afterwards, he was interviewed by golf.com, and he goes, I love crowds. That's kind of the funny part, is I wish there was a huge crowd in every hole, because that's when I hit my shots. I really do. I always do. It's the weirdest thing. When there's no one around is when I hit my worst shots. That's something that I need more in my life, is a bigger crowd. I just need to play a little bit better so it could happen. I can only imagine what would have happened if I would have been playing really good this week.
Michael Block is a guy who has come into our lives, and it's a great story. Don't get me wrong. Like the Rory stuff, the hole in one, all like the up and down on 18. Like what was that? Was that just last year?
A couple of years ago, 2 years ago. Oak Hill. Okay.
So there's all these great moments, but then he always, for some reason, has a quote that you're just like, what are you talking about, man? There was the one a couple years ago where he said, if I could drive the ball like Rory McIlroy, I would be like one of the top 5 players of all time. Now, I'm paraphrasing that, but it was something to that
No,
degree.
It was. That's pretty much what he said. Yep.
And it's like, I almost, just from like a narratives perspective, which is kind of how I come at a lot of this stuff, like Michael Block is a wild card. You just don't know what he's going to say. And I didn't see him say this quote. I've only read it. I haven't seen video of it, but man,
same.
For him to just be like, essentially saying my crowds weren't big enough and that's why I didn't play well, is so Michael Block that it made me laugh out loud when I saw it.
I completely agree. One of my favorite quotes I've ever seen in the history of following golf. I couldn't believe it when I saw it. I loved it. I love everything about that quote, the Block Party. And the best was like every single graphic that I saw had that quote, and then there was the context included in the graphic that was like, after firing 82, Michael Block says. I loved it. I absolutely
I want
loved
him
it.
in the PGA Championship every single year. Every year. Because you're going to get something out of him that just makes you go, what the fuck is he talking about?
Oh, God. It was the Rory one. I think he's like, if I could drive the ball, if I had Rory's distance, I'd be like top 5 player in the world or something. It's like, wait, what? He's incredible. John Rahm. Rahm's gotten a lot of heat for really since he went to live, just not playing as well. He's really refuted that a lot. He was refuting it a bunch this week when he was like, that narrative that like I just can't compete in majors because I play at live now. He's like, it's just not true. My swing, my game, we're not in a great, I've not been in a great spot for a couple of years, or not good enough to contend in major championships. And then he went out and he made it a tournament. It's a bummer. Like you don't know. Momentum's such a huge thing. He makes the big putt on 11 to go back-to-back birdies and get to 9 under. Scottie was 9 under at the time, so he's tied for the lead. He gets to 14, the drivable par 4, which is an awesome hole for television, and hits this 5-wood that's drawing at the right side of the green and lands and hits. Very unfortunate. There was like a 4-foot long area where the green sort of like sloped towards the right. Everything else, the ball's drawing, it's coming in from that end. Everything kicks towards the water there except that little spot, and kicked this ball into the bunker. He's still, even those guys, I think Trevor and Colt were like, yeah, if this is a normal game with your buddies, you get this, you're expected to maybe make this and get this up and down. Hit an okay bunker shot for him to maybe like 6 or 7 feet, miss the putt. And then he goes to 15. He absolutely smokes one on 15, ripped his driver down there, ripped a 4-iron from like a tough downhill lie that landed in the front middle of the green. It was coming in a little hot, just barely rolled through, caught that like back false edge and rolled down to where Scotty's ended up as well. Hit kind of a poor lag putt from down there going through the fringe, and then missed like a 12-footer coming back. And from then on, it was like Scottie had just made a couple birdies. Now he was down like 3, but anything could happen. And then he goes and hits one in the water. or he makes he barely missed on 16, a par putt, hits one in the water on 17, and next thing you know, he posts 4 under when he was 9 under and wasn't really in the mix. But again, it's you can't really just look at the leaderboard, the finish. He's deflated. He's kind of losing focus on the hardest holes. So he probably fell farther than he should have. But a great performance nonetheless. We haven't really seen much from Rahm contending in majors over the last couple of years. Year and a half, I guess, is all it's been. And he made it a bit of a golf tournament there. So nice to see Jon Rahm back in it.
Yeah, I would say without Jon Rahm, this is a much more, it's way more boring today. Like even when Scottie was 2 over and he got, he slid back to 9 under, there were still guys, every time Scottie would make a bogey, everybody else would make a bogey. So it was everybody was shifting down. So he never really lost that lead, it didn't feel like, until Rahm made the run and they met at 9 under for what felt like 15 minutes and then it kind of flew away. But yeah, I like seeing Rahm up there. He was more calm, I thought, out there today than he usually is. He was
more calm.
He's
laughing.
I didn't know what was going on with that. Like the shot you're talking about on 14, that's the drivable par 4.
Yep.
If that drive happens to Jon Rahm, I think 2 years ago, I think he breaks one of his clubs. That's one of the worst breaks I've seen because he deserved way better than that. He hit such a good shot, and it's just one part of the green where, for whatever reason, everything else is kicking left, but in that specific spot, it kicked right, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, he hit such a good shot. And they cut to the camera, and he was just kind of like, ha, yeah, I tell you what, I wish that shot had gone left. And you're like, what? Like, I mean, listen, if he's more calm and he's clearly still playing pretty good golf, if he's this high up in a major, like, good for him. But I expected him to lose his shit, and he really didn't.
Dude, it almost came off to me like he's trying to Bryson himself. Like as soon as it happens, he's like, I'm going to fuck. And then he's like, yeah, it's fine. This is great. It's like so nice out here, And then it's like, and then he had, the hole before, he had that brutal lip out from like.
So bad. He had such a good putt.
Like coming in, die speed, high side that usually catches the high side lip. And right away he did the thing, but then he kind of smiled again and like almost laughed. And I was like, this guy's going crazy. What do you don't smile here. Like you're going to go fucking tomahawk that putter at somebody's face. So yeah, very surprising. Very surprising.
That's going to end in like a serenity now type of deal. Like he's just pushing all of that anger down. And at some point it's going to erupt like a volcano. And we've said that in the past. Like I love fiery Jon Rahm. Like that's part of his appeal. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. When things aren't going well, he's going crazy. But when it's all right and he's playing well, he's one of the most fun players in the world to watch play golf. But I just think he was laughing out there. I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I don't think that's going to last. That would be my prediction.
No, it was almost like maniacal a little bit. It kind of came off a little maniacal, but no, I like to see it. It actually made me think like, oh, he's going to be able to hold it together here and not like, but I think he's Jon Rahm. He needs to be you need to let him loose out there a little bit. That's how he plays his best golf.
That is part of his greatness.
It's like John McEnroe. Like John McEnroe throwing tennis
ride that wave of ride that line of like lunatic, but also super talented, and you can kind of activate that greatness when you lose your shit. Like that's part of what it is.
100%. So I was a little concerned about that, to be honest with you. I was like kind of nice to see, but then I was like, I don't know if he's really getting it done. Golf Galaxy, man, it's a great place to just hang out. It's just to hang out. I like to do it. I enjoy doing it. The putting green, there's simulators, there's just equipment. You can just kind of be almost like again, we got a couple dads on this show now. You almost feel like a dad just like browsing around a Golf Galaxy, picking stuff off the shelves. It's the place we trust with our golf game. It's our go-to place to gear up for the golf season. And they've got everything from equipment, apparel, golf shoes, services to dial in our games. We love Golf Galaxy.
Yeah, it is just a great place to wander around. They've got everything. Like you said, they've got so much equipment in there. You just grab a club, do a little practice. Who knows? You might find the one that you want. They've got hitting bays. They've got people who can help you. They can help you with their swing. They can help you get you fitted. Golf Galaxy just has everything. Just go in there, wander around. They got great apparel. If you're going golfing and you feel like you're not fully prepared, just walk around a Golf Galaxy and I guarantee you will leave fully prepared.
There's also a reason why Golf Galaxy is the exclusive retailer of the Skills Barstool collection, because we trust them to get our games right and your games right. Golf Galaxy always has the newest and best selection of golf apparel and footwear Golf Galaxy has an amazing suite of services in store, including 24-hour re-gripping for your clubs. Go to your local Golf Galaxy, check out all the best golf products, or shop online at golfgalaxy.com. Did you see the Wyndham Clark driver throw today?
Oh, I didn't.
Dude, I didn't really see this until pretty recently. I'm going to text this to you guys real quick, but this is somebody found this, and it's a phenomenal. Dude, he hits a tee shot, clearly doesn't like it, and then he does a full behind him into like the tee marker thing, just throws his driver back in a fit of rage. He almost looked like Sergio Garcia when he did it. I just texted it to you guys right now, but a nice burst. That's kind of what I needed to see out of John Rahm a little bit was this Wyndham Clark driver throw. So
you know who we did see it out of, and I'm watching this Wyndham Clark clip right now. Oh yeah, yeah. we saw some anger from Shane Lowry, who is, I would say, overall a pretty calm guy, but everybody knows he's got opinions and he'll get fiery if he needs to. I mean, we watch him in Ryder Cups lose his mind. So him like hitting that, duffing that chip, and then just giving the middle finger when he was on the green was really making me laugh. He fucking hated it out there.
Oh, hated it. I saw our boy Tyrrell Hatton. I think he got caught on a mic saying the C word at one point, and then the best part was like a reporter like broke it down and was like, "Hey, we think a mic caught you saying the C word on this." And then he had to like respond to that. He was like, "Yeah, probably not my finest moment." He was just going on. Oh, it was great. Oh God, we got a ref got hit in the face.
Oh no.
Whoa, he's leaking everywhere.
By a puck, you're saying?
I don't know. Holy cow. He's leaking everywhere.
Oh no.
There's a stretcher out there. What's going on? What did I miss?
Oh my God.
What the fuck did I miss?
Damn.
Oh, dude, he must have caught a puck. He had to have caught a puck. His face is in shambles.
That's got to be worst case scenario when you're on a hockey rink.
Oh, no, he got a high stick.
Oh.
Fuck, dude, that looks horrible. I think they have a backup ref. I think a new ref comes in.
You got to have a backup ref.
Yeah, this guy's leaking everywhere, Trent. Blood all over the place.
Man.
Couple other notable finishes really quick. Shout out to Johnny Vegas, tied for 6th after all that. A nice tie for 6th. He's 42 years old, you know. He's had like 1 trillion missed cuts. Just haven't really heard much from him overall. And then for him to come out there, had the lead, it didn't fully crumble, you know. It was like,
no,
I think a tie for 6th, that's pretty good for Johnny Vegas this week.
I don't know if you know the answer to this. How did he get into this tournament? No offense,
dude. I was surprised by that with a lot of guys in the field where you're like, I don't even know this guy gets into, like, well, obviously a lot of them aren't even into signature events yet. They're in the major championship. So that's a really good question. I guess played well enough or whatever. I'm not exactly sure, but I wasn't even sure, like, how did Luke Donald get into the tournament?
I thought the same thing when I saw him. Played well too, made the cut.
Yeah, played well. He was leading or right up there. He's like 400 after the first round. But I was like, do you just get into the PGA if you're just a Ryder Cup captain? Or is it like, maybe it's if you've been number 1 in the world at some point? I was trying to think about that. Like I have no idea how he got into the tournament.
It would be funny if they did like a promotional spot for Ryder Cup captains. PGA of America, PGA Championship and Ryder Cup. You're in. We just need to get some visibility out there. We got our event coming up in a few months. Keegan played well too. Keegan finished, I think, at 5 under for the tournament.
Yeah, he played great. Look at this. No joke. Luke Donald became a member of the PGA Tour through a combination of founders. Blah, 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 blah. It says the 47-year-old, this is from 3 days ago, the 47-year-old Donald, who was not playing a full schedule and got into the tournament only because of an invitation from the PGA of America for being a captain.
Oh, really?
No way. Is that true?
Oh, shit. We were just joking around. That's crazy.
Great.
I mean, good. Yeah. I mean, listen, if there's one event in the world that doesn't need like a promotional spot, it's the Ryder Cup, but I'm happy for Luke Donald and he played well.
That's fucking shocking. I saw Joaquin Niemann finish tied for 8th. He's obviously the leader over on the Live Tour in points, has been for a couple of years, playing great over there. Hasn't really shown up in majors much. So a lot of people pointing to that of like, what's the deal? Tied for 8th. So nice little week for Joaquin Niemann. I saw Gerard, who was the leader after the first round, also finished tied for 8th. Joe Highsmith tied for 8th. John Rahm Keegan Bradley, Matthew Fitzpatrick, who had been going through kind of a rough patch, I feel like, over the last year or so. He was also with that big crowd at 4 under, tied for 8th place, so a nice top 10 finish. And then my last thing on my sheet here is I wanted to mention Max Homa. I know he had a bad weekend. He went 76, 77 over the weekend, but he was right there in the mix. I think he was like 5 under or something through 2 rounds of golf, so he was right up there among the leaders, and he was doing all the media, and he was talking about how tough it's been and how golf hasn't been very fun, just being an awesome, candid, legendary Max Homa up there. And again, he didn't have the greatest weekend, but as folks know, he played pretty well at the Masters tournament, and then he had a good start at the PGA. So it's not the finish he's looking for. It's not the paycheck that he's looking for, but maybe some signs that there's some good golf in there from Max with a couple good rounds to start the tournament.
Yeah, those early rounds, those were good to see. Now that we're at a part of the podcast where I think we're less analytics and statistics and more opinions, I don't like watching Alex Noren play golf. Do you agree with that?
Is it because like his little does he do like the Justin Rose sort of pre-shot routine thing a little bit?
I was trying to think about why. I'm sure he's a nice enough guy. I got no actual beef with him, but there's just something when he was in the final group with Scottie, and you're basically watching those two go back to back, and Scottie's is so. I mean, he's Scottie, and it's not perfect either, but the result is incredible. And when you watch Alex Noren, there was part of me honestly that like
it's grindy and choppy.
It's grindy and also a little bit reminded me of my game because he hits the kind of shots that I hit. Listen, I'll never be on the leaderboard of a PGA Championship, but he's got the same left to right, hard left to right. It's never easy. He does the hip thing. There was just a lot of things where I was like, this seems like a lot for a final group of a PGA Championship.
I know what you mean. I didn't. He's not like overly pleasant to watch play golf. People probably say the same thing about me, or it's just like
I know
it's about us, but it's just like I know what you're saying though. There's like it's a beautiful, pleasing experience to watch like Adam Scott play golf, even if he shoots 81. If he shoots 81, it's beautiful to watch every swing, the whole deal. Versus, I see what you're saying. You could watch an Alex Noren shoot like 69 at the PGA, and you might just be like, that's just kind of a grind. Watch.
It is a tough opinion to have as a guy who has a YouTube video where I shot like 144. So I understand that I'm throwing stones from a glass house, but when you watch Rory play, you're like, it's like a breath of fresh air. You're just like, this is nice, and it's making me feel good. And that can't be everybody. So that was one thing that kept coming up in my mind when I was watching the coverage today. I was like, man, it's just not easy out there. But that was, dude, that was a stupid opinion that I had.
No, it's not a stupid opinion. You know who another Swede is who I feel similarly about is Freddie Jakobsen. You ever watch Freddie Jakobsen play golf?
I can't picture it even.
It's been a while. He's like, I'm looking it up now. He's like 50 years old now, but I want to say there was a stretch 5-7 years or so ago when we first started doing this where he had a pretty good little run. And I think if he's the right guy that I remember watching, I think his whole game was like putting, basically. So it was like he would hit it all over the place, and it wasn't very, but he was one of the best putters on the planet and could just post some scores. And it made me think of that when you're watching of like, man, this isn't like, I don't know. It's almost, you're like, how is this guy up there? And just watching it, and then you add up the number, and you're like, that was pretty fucking impressive with this guy.
Had a pretty damn good day out there. Yeah, there's just guys who are easy to watch and guys who aren't. I think that's kind of what it boils down to.
Look at this. Freddie Jakobsen putting is well known for his remarkable streak of avoiding 3 putts. In 2015, he went a record-breaking 542 holes without a 3-putt.
That is mind-blowing. We watched so many 3-putts just today where you're just like, yeah, it just happens.
It just happens. So easy to 3-putt. It's so easy. It's easier to 3-putt than it is to 2-putt a lot of the time. That's phenomenal. Jesus. Freddie Jakobsen. All right. I think that's all I had. What a 2 major championships in the books. Next thing we got is the United States Open at Oakmont. We were up there. We're going to have a video that comes out of us playing from the back tees, 7,600 yards, maybe the hardest golf course in the world. And then we tipped it out. It was like windy for a lot of the day. The storm blew in for part of the day. The rough was unplayable. How long it was like unplayable. And everybody was struggling. We were talking to the other groups, a bunch of like content creators out there. So I can't even imagine what it's going to be like watching, because this golf course was hard. When only one player in the strongest field in the world does better than 6 under par, That's a really hard golf course. And now Oakmont, I think, is going to be significantly harder.
Yeah. And I don't want to jinx it, but I think as far as a golf season goes and who wins the tournaments, certainly the big ones and certainly the majors, we're kind of pitching a perfect game. So
Yeah.
I don't know who I would want to win the next one. It sounds like I will want Bryson DeChambeau because I'm going to bet on it. But Rory Scottie is one hell of a start for the golf season.
It's also, if you factor in the Players Championship, like Rory in a playoff, winning on like a Monday playoff, and then Rory in another playoff at the Masters with like playing in the final group with Bryson and all those guys, and then Scottie going toe to toe with John Rahm with like Bryson in the mix as well. I know it wasn't the most electric the last 5 holes or so, but like I'm with you. It's about as good as it gets, and we got 2 big tournaments left. Oakmont is as historic and iconic of a venue as it gets in the world of American golf. And then this Royal Portrush with Rory, with Lowry having won there. Oh, that's going to be a hell of an event.
Rory at Portrush. Like that would be unbelievable. So we're getting ahead of ourselves. Oakmont, I'm very excited for Oakmont. I can't wait to see those guys play there.
Father's Day line is dropping Tuesday, so make sure you're ready for that. We appreciate the support. As always, merchandise is a huge part of our operation, our business, and we see people rocking it at the Barstool Classics, at tournaments that we go to, at Quail Hollow this week. Saw a bunch of Barstool golf merchandise out there. When we see it on social, it means a lot. Supports the fellas, the whole crew, the operation. So very much appreciate it. Lines dropping on Tuesday. And then Thursday, Chiclets, Foreplay, much anticipated banger of a video, 3-hour movie. So good stuff coming. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Hope you enjoyed a little major championship golf. And we'll be back on Thursday. Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.